The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
One life, live it up, cause we got one life. One life, live it up, cause you don't get it twice. One life, live it up, cause you don't get it twice.
Hello and welcome to another special edition of Soccer to the Max, as we are hitting on Group E, getting into the home stretch of these World Cup previews. Got 3 more left after this. This one may be pretty simple at the top, and then it's the other 3 teams possibly fighting for one spot. Depends on how you look at it and how you think certain teams are strong or not. But when you got Brazil in your group, and with everything that they've been through in the last 4 years and how things have changed, how they've changed managers, all that, it's a much different team now than the team that took the 7-1 drubbing 4 years ago. But we'll get into that. This also, of course, contains Switzerland, Serbia, and CONCACAF team Costa Rica. So the first CONCACAF team that we got to talk about here, Costa Rica. And guys, if you don't know, haven't heard that yet, the song that you heard was the official World Cup anthem for the United States, which is Nicky Jam featuring Will Smith. It's okay, I thought. I don't think it's like anything you need to go crazy. It is in English and Spanish as well, so there's that. But I don't know, Eric, I know you kind of had thoughts on it before.
Well, like I said, it was mediocre. Thank you for proving me right. See, I'm not alone in thinking this.
Well, Eric is taking the reins of Switzerland on this one. Rachel has Serbia.
I have a couple shout-outs to make when we talk about these groups. So first off, I want to give a shout out to my Serbian brother from another mother, Luka Andjusic. I miss you so much. College was great with you. And for Costa Rica, also in this group, Mauricio Vargas, former Pittsburgh Riverhound. Miss you in Pittsburgh, buddy. Pura vida.
So, yeah, I mean, Rachel hit it on the head. That's pretty awesome to be able to give a shout outs to 2 different people. I don't know, I can't top it from there. But Rach, and if you haven't made up the odds, I'm doing Costa Rica and Brazil. So Rachel, Serbia has had a tough time they didn't qualify for the last World Cup, but they qualified for the 2 before that. Of course, they've had time where they were Serbia-Montenegro. They are considered the official country that gets the stats and all that for Yugoslavia as well. So technically they made 12 World Cups. But this is a different team than the ones we've seen in the past. A much more veteran team. And they went through a coaching change and all that. I mean, what can we expect out of Serbia here?
Well, it's hard to tell what you can expect from Serbia because, like you said, Sean, they're so they're very inconsistent. During their World Cup qualification run, they had a lot of mixtures of losses, draws, wins, but in the end, it was a 3-0 win over Moldova, a 1-0 win over Ireland, and a 1-0 win over Georgia that propelled them into that spot. And I looked at their roster for the tournament, and what really caught my eye was that there's really not a lot of players that feature internally in Serbia. There's only 3 players that feature for clubs in the country. You have players from all over Europe and stuff. You have Antonio Rukavina, who plays for Villarreal. Is that how you say that club in Spain?
Villarreal.
Villarreal, of course. You have Branislav Ivanovic, who plays for Zenit St. Petersburg. So you've got somebody who's very familiar with Russia. You have a couple Bundesliga stars, a few Italian stars. It's just a couple Premier League guys. Alexander Mitrovic plays for Fulham, who just got promoted. You have somebody from Manchester United in here, Nemanja Matic, who has 39 appearances with the national team as a midfielder. So, like Sean said, there's a lot of experience on here. There is not a single player on this roster that doesn't have an appearance. There's a couple 1, 2, 3 timers, but really there's a lot of double figure caps on this roster. So it's going to be an experienced team, but they've been really shaky throughout World Cup qualifying. And something you have to look at too, for a country, there's the highest goal scorer has 13 goals. So not many big goers for the back of the net.
Yeah, that's an issue. And, you were talking about that World Cup qualifying. They weren't in the toughest group, really. I mean, Ireland knows who they are. They got to the playoffs. I mean, Wales had a pretty decent run in the Euros, but still, when you look at other teams in Europe, they're not a team that you're going, oh my God, I need to be totally scared of Wales, Gareth Bale aside. So, I mean, Serbia was very fortunate to be in the group they're in. They still topped it, which is saying something, but it wasn't by a lot. I think it was by 2 points. And obviously the changing of the guard helped in that regard, but it feels like this team's going to have to be, like you said, Rachel, you're not depending to go out there and battle in goals. You're going to be relying on the spine of your team, which is led by a pretty decent defense and Nemanja Matic, who's getting offers to leave Manchester United already because he's one of the key cogs. Him and Paul Pogba kind of lead that holding midfield line for them, and they're going to rely on him to sort of make sure not only to kind of shield the defense, but also to get things going forward. And it might be a lot on him, considering who else he's facing in this group. It's a really tough group. So
him and the captain, Alexander Kolarov, I mean, he's from Roma. He has 75 appearances with the team, 10 goals. And there's going to be a lot of pressure on these older guys.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's nice, Eric, to have a lot of the mixture of guys. But I don't know. What I feel like is that you have one goal go against Serbia. What are you going to do at that point? Is what I would worry about. If you're not holding on for that 1-0 kind of thing, could they, suffer losses just because they can't score?
And I really think so. And even with the group the way it is, you're not going to go anywhere with like 2 points. You're going to need, and especially for Serbia, knowing they're facing Brazil, they've got to get at least 3 points from these other 2 matches. And I really don't see that happening because with some of these teams, they have some very good defenses, especially Switzerland. So you're going to have to score, potentially twice? Or if you're really going up against a Costa Rica, you're probably going to need to score 3 times. And this is not a Serbian team that's really capable of doing that.
I mean, I'd look at Luka Jovic as your guy that, from Eintracht Frankfurt that's been doing better since they changed coaches over there, because he's also from that area as well. So they kind of have that connection, and he's been able to do better. But I feel like that may not be enough. Like you said, it's not just the defenses; it's also on the other end. I mean, look at all the talent attacking wise that's in this group on all three teams. I think Switzerland might be the best chance they have of getting that 3 points. Maybe nick a one and hold on. But I mean, Brazil, Costa Rica, that's going to be difficult. With what you have going on there. But I don't know. What do you think, Rachel? What do you think their best tactics are here for them?
Their best tactics are to play it safe. Use whatever worked in those World Cup qualifying wins. They recently just beat Nigeria 2-0 in an international friendly back in March. They did not have a good bout against Chile on June 4th. Just kind of go with what you're comfortable with, what the veterans are comfortable with, because let's be honest, those are the guys that's going to be starting. I just don't see them making it to the group stage. I want them to for my friend Luca's sake. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I find it difficult for them as well. I mean, I think they will just, out of being organized. I'm not sure. I've been going kind of back and forth on this one. I felt like being organized defensively, maybe getting some things on set pieces can help them get through. But they're also gonna have to get some fortunate things go their way as well. I just don't feel very confident about them as much as I do the other three teams. And Eric, I mean, at times I feel like Switzerland might go into the same boat because look how they got to this World Cup in the first place. They barely got through by this, however you want to say the old saying, barely, on a penalty that you could possibly say shouldn't have even counted. And they've been up and down. I mean, some of these players are not in the greatest form coming in. I know, sometimes club form doesn't equal what they do when it comes to the World Cup. You've got guys with names, but I'm not too keen on them compared to perhaps years ago.
Well, let me assuage those just a little bit. Going back to their June friendly in 2016, 2-1 against Moldova. That ended a 3-match losing streak. Now, if you count that match through Euro 2016, through World Cup qualifying, and all the way up to their last friendly against Spain, this is a team that's only lost twice. And you want to talk about teams that are capable to park the bus, especially you're talking from, against Faroe Islands, they're Faroe Islands, but going through their group and then a Belarusian friendly mixed in, they had 6 straight matches, 6, where they did not concede. This is a team that, yes, you do have a good mix of experience, especially at the back. Stefan Lichtsteiner, who during this tournament will undoubtedly get his 100th cap, but you got a team that knows how to park not just the bus. This is a team that if they have to, they'll park the tank. They do have one sort of a younger goal scorer, 1 or 2 that they left off the squad, but they've still got Xherdan Shaqiri, Stoke City, 20 goals and 69 caps. You still have Haris Seferovic, who plays at Benfica. He's got 11 goals, and you've got a lot of talent, especially up front, littered from German teams. Borussia Mönchengladbach, Eintracht Frankfurt, Hoffenheim. You've even got Manuel Akanji, who's a defender from Dortmund. So this is a team that tactically, I think they're going to do better than people will give them credit for.
Yeah, I mean, they also still have Xhaka, Joseph Fernandez,
Mm-hmm.
Joseph Drimich up front as well. I mean, they have names that I think people are going to recognize if you've watched the Euros, watched the World Cup from before. They have a
Mm-hmm.
veteran squad. These guys know what they're doing. They know what they need to do to stay organized, like you said. And very much my same thing with Serbia is we've seen squads like this. I mean, we've seen Switzerland somehow not get through, even though they don't technically lose a game.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, my same thing with Serbia. You have two squads here that are very similar in how they operate. It's a who can get that goal when it matters, and we have seen Shaqiri do a little magic here and there. We have seen a few of these other guys do something like that. That's why I think putting your faith in Switzerland isn't wrong because of all the precedent they've set already. Why not go ahead and just do this? But these are tougher opponents than you're playing in all these friendlies and in your group that you got through.
Very true, but I will say this. If you're going to pick a match to miss, make it that Serbia-Switzerland one, because that, I'm not exactly sure about the timing within the group, but with these two teams clashing in their styles, don't be surprised if that one kind of puts you to sleep.
Won't be surprised at all by that, honestly. But you know, it's difficult because like you want to pick all the flashy teams. You want to say, "Oh, this is definitely Brazil, Costa Rica, and just whatever." But we've seen this happen where you know the flashy teams meet the wall and they can't get through the wall. So, and I feel like with Switzerland, with all their experience, I trust them a little more.
Exactly. I mean, when that just goes across the board. I told you about what I'm doing in top 11. Who would have thought? If this is the time of year with this tournament, anything can happen. Hashtag sandwich formation.
Well, speaking of anything can happen, Costa Rica knows that very well because I don't think anyone would have said, oh, they're the CONCACAF team that's going to go the farthest and go into the round of 8, and they almost made the semifinals. So, let's be fair. They surprised the world with that 5-4-1 and also having the best goalkeeper in the world, Mr. Keylor Navas, as well. You know, who, obviously, the man that protects the net for Real Madrid. Can't get much better than that, to be fair. And the thing is, can lightning strike twice? And a lot of times, about 99% of the time, it doesn't happen that way again for you. Now, the thing is, you've got, outside of Brazil, you have a group where you can play to their strengths. You can go out and defend, and then you can either go out there and then try to use your attacking talent to get the best of them. The problem is, Switzerland and Serbia are going to let you have the ball more than I think they really necessarily want to, and that might run into a problem for them. But a lot of their squad that they had last time go around is still here. You know, you still have Marco Urena, who we saw him deliver daggers in the hexagonal. We've seen him do it for... he did it for San Jose. I don't think he's played that much for LAFC so far this year. They're still waiting on Joel Campbell to finally show himself. Could this be the World Cup for him? Christian Bolaños is still there. Brian Ruiz is still leading that line. You got Rodney Wallace, who, they have the veteran group, the coach, everything else that's ready for them to repeat. But I feel like that's so difficult to go immediately. Costa Rica is going to do this again. What do you think, Eric? I mean,
I don't know. I can't say immediately, but let's face it. Are they wanting to go tit for tat with the Switzerland, with the Serbia? Could they potentially get 4 points from those two teams, and then all of a sudden, you never know. They could make a shock knockout run. There's going to be a lot of chess matches among this group. A lot of counterattacking, a lot of deep lines, offside traps. It's going to be whoever can get a good attacking midfielder or their best striker through would have the best advantage. And I can't give too much to that end, even with Urania for Costa Rica, but on the right day in the right environment, it's possible.
and what do you think, Rachel? We've watched a lot of Costa Rica, of course, being in the same places, the same conference and all that as the United States. We've seen Costa Rica absolutely demolish the United States as well. I mean, do you think that we can see this again with Costa Rica getting through?
I truthfully think you could. I think they're just a really well-rounded team. They had a really good qualifying campaign in the hexagonal. I think that there's a lot that needs to be said about how far they went in 2014, and there's still like a lot of players from that roster that are competing here in 2018. So I think, I mean, granted the level of competition is a bit different. I think Switzerland is going to be the team that potentially gives them a run for their money. I just don't think Serbia has it quite in them. They're not winning first place, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to be glued to that Brazil-Costa Rica match because that's going to be a good one.
Yeah, that one is going to be tremendous, especially if like Brazil gets an early goal or something, to see what Costa Rica has to do to get out of that shell, and if it ends up costing them or not. But I think they also were able to take advantage in 2014 of people not understanding how to deal with their formation, because they're very organized, they stay in it, they know what they're doing. You've had a lot of tape to study of Los Ticos in that time. And could Serbia, could Switzerland do enough to rob points away that Costa Rica needs? And then it's just not enough. But that's one of those things that we'll have to see at the World Cup. Again, on Sunday, we'll make those final decisions on our end, who we think goes through. But this is a team to watch, surely. I think a lot of people are going to want to see if they can do it again. But I just have my doubts of, you don't have anyone that's just an automatic goal scorer. You're having to get through on taking opportunities from bad passes from the other team, from mistakes, from set piece of Brian Reeves or something like that. The World Cup is usually where a lot of teams get tight, and that doesn't happen often. Will they get enough of those to be able to get goals they need? That's something to look out to.
If they're brave enough for one match to try the sandwich formation, then they could.
Hashtag sandwich formation. I'm sure you'll be hearing it a bit here as well, but I don't think I need to introduce too much the only squad to ever make every single World Cup in Brazil. We know that. I think anybody that's watched soccer long enough knows their history. 5 World Cup championships. Pele being their greatest player, and having so many great players after him. That tremendous 1970 team. And then to be on home soil and suffer the humiliating loss that they suffered against Germany. That's gotta be weighing in their mind. I know that they beat Germany in a friendly. Brazil's media made a big deal about that, but I wonder how much the Brazil players actually really cared about that. They had a rough time of it, though, after that, because Dunga, we know how defensive-minded Dunga is. It won him a World Cup before, but it doesn't mean it always works. It didn't. They were knocked out of the Centenario in the group stage. And then all of a sudden, Tite comes in. And we get back to looking at Brazil the way they've been. 41 goals in all the games. That was 10 more. Or they were the first team to qualify for the World Cup, aside from Russia, who really doesn't have to qualify. They're just there as the host. But it says something that you finished 10 points ahead of Uruguay, who was in second. In CONMEBOL, that's nothing to laugh at. These are some rough teams that you're playing in rough stadiums, rough atmospheres, teams that have so many years of hate for each other. It says something for them to come back with a vengeance, pretty much, and with Neymar missing out on injuries at times as well. And with his whole saga with, now he has a saga of wanting to leave PSG for Real Madrid now. His personal issues aside, this is one of the most stacked teams in all of the World Cup that you're going to see. I can go down names here, and you're going to go, yeah, I know that guy, I know that guy, I know that guy. And you're going to go, who the hell is going to beat them? That's what I wonder myself. There's going to have to be something going on. I mean, even their goalkeeper, Alisson, played wonderfully for Roma this season. But you're looking at Thiago Silva, Marcelo, Danilo, Casemiro, Fernandinho, Felipe, Coutinho, of course Neymar, Gabriel Jesus, Firmino at Liverpool. I mean, it's a bunch of names, right? But they've gotten to be able to come together and play together well. And I don't know. Do you think anybody's stopping the Jogo Bonito here, Rachel? I mean, this is kind of crazy.
Nope. I know we're having our prediction show last, but I'm telling you right now, they're winning the whole thing. The whole thing.
I'm right there with you in that I just don't know. Like, I just see them coming in and maybe not wiping the floor with some of these teams because, again, Serbia and Switzerland are very defensive and so is Costa Rica. They may not, flash through. Maybe they do. Maybe they do score 3 goals on everybody and just make it go, oh my God, but Eric, there is a certain thing to be said for being overconfident, and maybe that happens to this squad. I don't know. Do you find a weakness here for them at all?
Going back to what I've seen, not really. I mean, look at a team like Croatia, what they did in that friendly against Liverpool. Croatia had a couple of chances early on in the match to really take the lead. But Brazil held down very, very well defensively, and Croatia tried to just keep getting cute when they did have their chances. The game went on. It was mainly ticky-tack, both teams possession. It stayed 0-0. Well, what happened in the second half? A certain someone coming off of injury, wearing the fabled number 10, possibly in the shop window for those reports, he comes on and just like, you know what, screw this. beats out two defenders, sets up a cracking goal. All of a sudden, Croatia is just deflated. Brazil scores another one, and next thing you know, it's 2-0 game, set, match. Now, that was just in the second half. Imagine that happening to you in the first 20 minutes. Brazil is confident, but you never want to play a Seleção team aiming for revenge and redemption. Guess what they're trying to do this year?
Yeah, and to go win it in Europe after you lose at home in South America, that says a lot as well. To go over there, possibly upset Germany in the final again, or another European team, a Spain or something like that. That would be a feat for them.
And remember, everybody talks about what happened in Brazil back in 50. What did they do in 58? Just 2 short World Cups later, with the 17-year-old Pele, they became the first South American team to win on European soil. Now you figure they can cut that time frame in half. This would be perfect for them.
Yeah, with a young number 10 and Neymar leading the way. Yeah, I mean, it just, at every place that you look, you go, they could literally put out the B team, and it would probably be just fine.
Yeah, you're not even looking at someone like a Falcao or a Fregia, who just signed with Manchester United.
Yeah, I just and now it's not just Neymar by himself. Gabriel Jesus has come on the scene and done well for himself. Firmino's done fine at Liverpool. You have Coutinho cutting in. You got Willian. You got Fred. I mean, it's just. We talked about France having an embarrassment of riches. So does Brazil. I mean, and Fernandinho and Paulinho are just fine sitting back there and soaking up that pressure and getting it right up to the guys that need to have it. And, I mean, I think as long as Neymar keeps his ego in check, because that's another thing. Remember all the penalty BS with Cavani at PSG and all his little, being a baby at times. If he can keep it in check, don't get too big of a head, and, the Brazil doesn't implode from within it at one point or another, I think you're looking at a team that, if they don't at least make the final, something happened.
Again, for Neymar, his approach should be 2 words: shop window. You want to leave PSG and have all of this for an exorbitant amount of money? Play like it.
I mean, I can't hate on the guy for wanting more money, but it's ridiculous that you just signed that crazy-ass contract with PSG because you wanted to be your own man. You're there a year and you want to leave.
Well, he wasn't he wasn't his own man. A lot of that with injury and issues. And again, you said Cavani and PSG did fine.
I think he always liked Spain. He just didn't want to be in Barcelona because of Messi. He wanted to get out. And then it's like, dude, couldn't you just made your own play for Real Madrid? But I get it now, right? If he does awesome at the World Cup, Real Madrid's going to be sitting there going, back up the truck because Ronaldo's getting older. I mean,
I'm just about to say, they clearly don't want to keep relying on Gareth Bale, although they should. Ronaldo, this is his last couple of go-rounds. He's not playing all the time in Spain anyway, so they're like, hey, we poach one of your main guys and help us winning, especially after Zidane decides to quit. Oh, we're all over that. What, 400, 500 million? Yeah, we can swing it. Let's do this.
I mean, they can swing it, but good God, that's ridiculous.
Give be 1% of that, and I would be set for life.
I mean, any of us would be fine with that. I mean,
Oh, goodbye college loans.
yeah, like, goodbye all that, forget that. I mean, just do whatever you want for the rest of it. I mean,
I mean, we could make a GoFundMe and Neymar could donate.
right? Yeah. Come on, Neymar. I can't speak Portuguese, but, you know. Hazlo por la gente que te quiere.
Obrigado.
Yeah.
See, had you let me know that we were going to be able to go down this road, I would have had something lovely and planned. But can we get that for tomorrow's preview show? Would it be too late?
I mean, if you want to, before we start talking about Group F, you know, you can.
Okay.
You can,
All right. I just need 2 minutes with the floor. Make a plea to Neymar. Everything is going to be good. Trust me, I got this.
yeah, I think for many people, we know where this is headed. It would be an absolute shock if it doesn't wind up that way. Brazil leading the line at the end, and it really is going to come down to the other three teams fighting it out. But who winds up being that second team, I think it's going to be the most interesting thing of this entire group. And, well, I mean, obviously, how well Brazil plays. Because if they can be the entertaining Brazil that we know from history, then I'm sure everybody will be enjoying the World Cup as well. But, yeah, Switzerland, Costa Rica, Serbia, watch out. Because here comes the steamroll. Possibly. So, I don't know. Is there anything else anybody wants to say about any of these teams before we call it an evening?
Not particularly about the teams, but now I have a plan.
Of what?
I could even tie in a Netflix show, 3%. Okay, yeah, the wheels are turning. I got something cooking.
Uh-oh. Eric has a plan. You'll definitely want to hear about it one way or the other. Perhaps on the next podcast. And if you enjoyed what you heard here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because not only will you get the rest of our previews, and you can also go back and listen to our other previews for Group A through D. We apologize, some of them do have some technical issues, but there's still good info there if you can get through it. We'll also have our big Sunday show where we can make all of our predictions. We'll also have a roundtable on the website, w2mnet.com, featuring the three of us and another compatriot of ours giving our thoughts on the World Cup in a more simple way for you guys to understand. If you enjoy all that, if you hit subscribe, Soccer to the Max, or you hit subscribe on the W2 Network, you get everything we do. You'll not only get our preview stuff, but at least Eric and I will be there every night of the World Cup discussing the games from that day. So you'll get a World Cup daily sort of thing with us throughout the World Cup. So, you don't want to miss that at all, because we'll be doing a wonderful service for you guys. You don't have to, if you don't have time to watch it all intently, or you don't have time to go back at night and watch the games, you can catch the highlights and listen to what we felt about the games as they happen. So definitely a lot coming from us in the next week and month to follow, with the world's greatest tournament happening just in a matter of days, people. It's amazing. Every day that goes by, we're getting so much closer, and I'm getting so excited. I know it's so sad. It's going to hit me on the 14th. Maybe not the 14th, because that's always that host game day. But on the 15th, when we get into the rest of Group A and Group B, and you go, my God, the U.S. is not in this World Cup. But we'll have to just deal with it like we are right now and just enjoy the football for what it is. So, until tomorrow, Well, we'll be talking Group F, and we'll be talking Group G, because we're going to do a doubleheader. See you later, everybody.
Pass!
Adios.